YouTube and LinkedIn. So if you guys are joining us from there, just quickly give us a hi on the live chat. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Will from Seattle. Hi, Ankan. Arka from Kolkata. Kushagra. Nice to have you, Raja. Carolina, Kevin. Okay. Great. 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 Great to have you guys. Wilson from London. Yeah. Okay. Fareed from Canada. Divya from Mauritius. Varsha. Nice. It's amazing to see all of you joining in from different parts of the world. So good morning, good evening to you wherever you are. So we're just about to get started with this very interesting discussion. And the discussion is about agentic AI. Now, through this webinar, you're going to understand all that you need to know about this technology. And we have got Alex and Armando to kind of help you understand what it really entails and why you should be upskilling and knowing this technology really, right? So the agenda for today's session, we're just going to quickly introduce Alex and Armando, and then they'll head over and kind of have this discussion, and you will understand through this discussion about the technology, what it really contains, and towards the end we'll be able to take your questions. So let's say you do have questions to ask. Please use the Q&A box and not the chat box, because there are more than 200 of you and it's going to be hard for us to track messages on the chat. So please make sure you use the Q&A box, and we'll make sure that your questions are answered towards the end. Yeah. Remember that this session is being recorded. So in case you miss something, do not worry. We'll send a follow-up email in the next 24 hours containing the recording link, and you will also receive a certificate for attendance, right? So anyone who is just joining in, and we got a lot of emails from learners asking about the webinar certificate. So I'm just going to clarify this right away so that we don't get this question later. Remember, we'll collect your names towards the end, and we'll make sure that your certificate reaches you in the next 24 hours. So make sure you stay till the end, you interact with the speakers and also ask a lot of questions. Use the Q&A box and of course the chat box to engage during the session. Yeah. And we're going to be also launching a bunch of polls, just trying to understand a bit more about you. Of course, we've got your name and the city. Philip, hi. Vyom, hi. Swati, everyone else who's joining in. Great to have you here. And I'm also excited to listen and understand what agentic AI is. I'm sure you all are, right? So let's quickly understand what you know about this technology. So let me know on the poll, how much do you know about agentic AI? Are you new? Someone who's read about it, know something, or you've got hands-on experience? I'm just going to keep the poll live for a while. Okay, everyone else who's joining in, Shahana, Praneeth, Rohini, hi. Afreen, good evening to you. Amit, Tejasvi, Vikram, Antonio, Deva Smith, hi. I didn't get that message. Your screen is below the screen. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, just quickly given your responses, and everyone else who's joining in, welcome to the session. We're just about to get started. This very interesting conversation on agentic AI. And I'm going to end the poll right here. Thank you everyone who's giving the introductions as well. So I hope Alex and Armando, you're able to see these results. You should be able to see them. Yeah. Almost 50-50. Some of them know about it. Most of them are also new to the topic. Yeah. All right, great. Let's see how much experience you carry. Now, this needn't be really limited to AI or Gen AI or data analytics. It can just be overall work experience. Just let us know what your work experience is. Yeah. Yes, Surendra, will hopefully, this question might get answered in the conversation today. So if it doesn't, we'll make sure that it is answered towards the end. Pooja, hi. Manideep, good evening. Muskan, Soumyadeep, everyone else, please make sure you answer this question on the poll about your work experience. Is your overall work experience, and just do that the next. Yeah. All right. That's great. That's great. Yeah, so I think I'll just end the poll right here because we need to proceed and start off with the session. I'm sharing these results. A lot of them have more than 5 years of experience. There's some experienced folks in this session. Okay, so let's quickly get started, and let me introduce you to our speakers and also about Simplilearn. So Simplilearn offers digital skills in multiple domains: AI, machine learning, generative AI, data science being just a few of them. So you can check out certifications, you can check out long-term programs that we offer. We also have programs that help you align yourself to a certain career path, whether it's a data scientist, a data analyst, or an AI engineer. But today in particular, towards the end, we'll also take you through one of our programs, and we've also got something exciting lined up towards the end. We'll talk about that while after this conversation is done. And let me introduce you to our first guide, Alex. She heads education strategy at GenAI.works. She's got more than 1 million followers on LinkedIn. You might have heard her, seen her on LinkedIn. If you haven't, you should go check her profile out. And she collaborates with many industry experts to shape the future of AI education and kind of bring impact through her handle. Yeah, great to have you, Alex. I'll just let you introduce yourself to our learners. Can you?
Yes, thanks for your kind words. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good, perfect. Thanks for your kind words. And I work with great like advisory team. We generate like the executive AI programs, and also I work with Simplilearn for to spread their great courses. I'm very happy and very excited to join today's session, especially in world AI is evolving at an insane speed, and we're going to unpack this topic, agentic AI, with Armando. Also, I noticed from the audience that half of you haven't heard much about this topic, half of you already has a touch on that. So we're going to start from the basics, and we're going to dive deeper on this topic. And at the end, we're going to give us everyone's suggestion how you can continue and dive deeper in this and shape your career in this field.
Got it. Great. Thanks so much for your introduction, Alex. Armando is the CTO of Intempo Health and the founder of Digital Ethos Solution. He is a passionate AI thought leader, and I'm sure you will know that while we do the conversation and you listen to his insights on the future of AI and the industry's impact on various domains. And his major focus is AI-driven decision making and also business transformation through AI. So he's also an expert in agentic AI. Very kind of you to accept our invitation, Armando. I'll just let you introduce yourself as well, and then I'll let you proceed with the conversation.
Absolutely. And by the way, thank you very much for the kind words. I don't know if I'm an expert in agentic AI. This is a brand new topic, and I think there are no true experts right now. I've been studying agentic AI for and implementing for a couple of years now, which is a lot to say because they have been coming through for the past year and a half or so. And as a matter of fact, my main focus, yes, it's AI-driven decision making, but it's the ethical part. We know that now AI systems are becoming more autonomous, so it's very important for us to start asking questions like what happens when AI becomes smarter than us? What happens when AI starts making decisions? Who will be accountable for those decisions? How can we understand what AIs are producing if they are smarter than us? So that's kind of been my main focus. Of course, built on top of agentic models. I've been teaching Caltech grad programs, postgrad programs in Purdue. I'm also an educator since Alex, so I'm also passionate about spreading the word, making sure that people are able to use AI ethically and with purpose. And I'm very excited of having this conversation about agentic AI with you today.
Great. So I think we'll get started. Alex, I'll just let you two have the conversation, and I'll kind of moderate the chat and also the questions. So I'll just stop my screen share here. Yeah, Alex, do you want to take over?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, guys. So we're now seeing a major shift towards agentic AI, as Armando and Aparna has mentioned. So where the system can operate autonomously, make decisions, and adapt to changing environments. So to start, Armando, could you give us a high-level definition of agentic AI and explain how it differs from the other types of AI, like traditional AI, and also even how it differs from like the generative AI?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start by looking at the current landscape, right? So we have traditional AI systems that were the very first AI systems like 20, 30 years ago, like expert systems. They were rule-based algorithms, like hard-coded. Then now we had models that learn from data, like large language models, like GPT. However, they are very good at processing information based on prelim patterns, and they operate in a closed environment. Think of, let's say, DeepSeek, ChatGPT, Claude. You can have a conversation with them. However, they don't actually take action. They don't interact with other tools. They cannot retrieve your statements from your bank account. They cannot make payments for you. They cannot book travel for you. They cannot update a database for you. Agentic AI represents this leap forward, where you have all these models built on a cognitive architecture, where you have a central language model that is combined with external tools that will allow that model to interact with something external. So think of us wanting to travel somewhere, right? Let's say we are going to take a trip to a beautiful beach. You can have a conversation with large language model to set up your plans, let you know what your itinerary, recommend some hotels, flights. But using agentic AI, the agents can actually book travel for you, pay travel for you, make reservations in restaurants for you. So that is the big leap forward. Is you have the traditional AI that is typically in closed environment like large language models, but now we have the ability to do it externally. So this is more proactive, more like a real-time capability, which is what makes AI, agentic AI, so transformative. It is shifting us from just being users of technology to engaging like with a digital partner that can make decisions on our behalf. And this poses like very profound questions for the audience. Like for them is to think like, how might your work or daily life change if you had a digital assistant that can not only advise you, but can also take actions independently on your behalf? So that is, in summary, what agentic AI is.
Thank you, Armando. That sounds very exciting. And there has been also a lot of discussion around whether agentic AI is simply an extension of a large language models or something fundamentally different. So some argues it's just more advanced application of existing models, while others see it as a major shift in AI capabilities. So where's your perspective on this?
So it might appear that agentic AI is a mere extension of the capabilities found in large language models, but it's much more than that. Large language models are like the brains, like an amazing storyteller. They are capable of generating detailed, context-rich responses. However, they are limited by the static nature of their training data. Agentic AI layers on top of this intelligence. They layer on top of a large language model by adding like dynamic orchestrations between agents and in real-time interaction with external tools. Think of when we talk about the architecture of one agent, you have the large language model is like the brains, but you need context, right? And that context can be dynamic, can be in the form of prompts, can be in the form of RAG, can be in the form of retrieving information from somewhere. So you have context, the large language model, and a tool that will allow the model to take action. The large language model is the central part. Yeah, it is the brain, it's the core, but it's not the only part that makes an agent. For example, again, as I mentioned, you have the travel assistant, right? The travel advisor. But adding context and adding a tool that allows that model to interact with other tools and book your travel. So that's the difference between the large language model, that is the brain, the core, the agent that uses the large language model to do something more, to interact and to reason.
Yeah, we've come a long way from the rule-based AI to deep learning, and now we are seeing a shift towards like more autonomous AI system, like you mentioned. And recently, we've seen also like the multi-agent collaborations in action, like DeepMind's AlphaCode, which generates and evaluates multiple solutions to tackle complex, like the coding challenges. And we also have the self-improving models that refine their decision-making through the experience. So we can see all those advancements contribute to this transformation. To give us a clear picture, what are the key technology breakthroughs that you think have made agentic AI is possible today?
So I think there have been a series of breakthroughs that stack one over the other, right? As you mentioned, and I think I would like to take it back to the late 1990s with neural networks. That was kind of first breakthrough. However, after neural networks, the next breakthrough was in 2018 with a paper from Google, Attention is All You Need. And that paper is what set the foundation for large language models. Okay, so that was the second breakthrough. Now, after that breakthrough, we had in 2023, in 2023, around March, also Google released a paper, React Agents. That was the paper. Well, the one thing is what you have in paper, and the other thing is the implementation. They have now that paper, React, that poses the possibility for models to reason and act with external tools. Then last year, like around February, March, you see more mature frameworks like LangChain and LangGraph that enabled that paper to actually be able to implement it as a framework. And then last year, also you have Small from Hugging Face, Swarm from OpenAI, Autogen from Microsoft, and you have like in the period of like 3 to 6 months, all these major companies putting together their own frameworks. So they have been stacking upon another. Now, if you add that on top of reinforcement learning, on top of the fact that compute is getting cheaper and more accessible, NVIDIA will release a product around in May in which for $3,000 you can have like a computer that can process large language models. So you don't have to do inferences on the server. So compute is getting more accessible, it's getting cheaper. Memory and storage is also getting cheaper and more accessible. You have better models, you have new frameworks, and all that combined that comes from different paths is giving us this amazing time where if we combine all those at this point in time, we can produce mind-blowing agents. So I think summarizing, I think the key breakthroughs have been attention is all you need, agentic frameworks, more compute, and the reinforcement learning, and then multi-agent orchestration frameworks. I think all those together with integration with external tools, those have been the breakthroughs that have given us today the possibility to build truly powerful and independent, autonomous, intelligent systems.
Yes, thank you. You've mentioned a lot of the very powerful large language models nowadays. Just a quick question to everyone, like, how many have you have tried the large language models, at least one type, no matter it's for image generation or it's like for the text or it's for, is there any of you haven't tried anything? I guess probably not. Well, so my next question to you, Armando, is like, with all those super powerful models, are they truly the backbone of the agentic AI? Or in other words, do we need a fundamentally different architecture to reach the true autonomy?
That's a very good question, because those large language models, they are like powerful brains, right? Behind many current systems. What they provide is a deep language understanding and the generative capacity that forms the core of AI intelligence. But for agentic AI, this core is just the beginning. Think of these models as the engine of a car, okay? Now, what they offer, like that raw power, an autonomous vehicle needs sophisticated navigation systems, sensors, controls to operate safely. And now that you mentioned all these models, something that we are going to start seeing is those models becoming smaller, becoming more efficient. The benefit of using AI architectures is that we can think of all these models like super smart, whether you have OpenAI, Bloom, Mistral, you have tons of them. But instead of having one single model that can give you everything, like think of interacting with Claude or Mistral. You can ask, okay, produce a table, do an analysis, give me an image, provide a recommendation. You're hoping sometimes that large language model can help you with everything that you want. Okay, that's one model. Instead of that, what agentic AI promises is you can use smaller models that can be more specialized in specific tasks or actions, and you can combine them. Think of that as swarm intelligence, as collective intelligence. So while those large language models are a foundational part of agentic AI, now we can afford to have smaller models, not as comprehensive as big and super fantastic performance in performance, and that would take more compute. Now we can take smaller models, the core of every agent, and have this swarm intelligence. Let me give an example. In our organization, Digital Ethos Academy, we have just created a product where we create material, like content, the dynamic content. But this is what happens. You have one agent that gathers the requirements, okay? And understands the requirements, like audience, if it's hybrid, online, on-site, topic, objectives, more profile about the audience, you can upload information. Okay, that's one agent, but this is a summary. This is my understanding, this is context. Then another agent, based on that, will produce, will query the web to find out the most relevant topics and trends, combine it with a context to produce an outline. Second agent. Now that outline, alongside with the context, is passed to another agent that will start scraping the web, looking for books, will start putting some content together. They have another agent that validates that what was produced by that agent is truthful, is trustworthy, it comes from reliable sources. And they have another agent that produces the deliverables, like a powerful conversation, PDF, HTML files, another agent that produces quizzes, and another agent that supervises everything, that makes sure that there's this constant alignment, right? So, and at some point you have these tools interacting with the web, with a user, with tools like PowerPoint or PDF, with external sources, with databases, to produce something meaningful. So that's an example of how large language models can power these agents. So going back to your question, yes, foundational models are the backbone, but they are not everything that composes an agent.
Yes, thank you. You have a lot of touch on the different applications. As an end user, I'm very excited about it. I would love to see that coming as soon as possible. And also for the companies like including your own organizations like also Microsoft or Google, they are integrating like the AI agents or agentic AI flow into their ecosystems. But deploying them efficiently in enterprise setting is still a challenge. So from your experience, and where have you seen the agentic AI making a real impact beyond just being a cool AI experiment? If you can provide us some like the very specific use cases, that would be amazing.
Yes, so I can provide. So there are some use cases that I've implemented for some of my customers. One of them, which was a very interesting use case, is, and by the way, this may sound like super trivial, but I had a customer that was struggling with invoicing. So two things. So it was struggling with being onboarded as a provider for their major customers, and with invoicing, by processing invoice, sending invoices, and collections. This was the problem. They had a lot of staff in admin that were not able to focus in efficiency and innovation because they were always keeping up with transactional stuff. Like, okay, we need to invoice this customer, but this customer needs to onboard us as a company, and they will ask for a lot of information. We need to go back and forth, look at who is the main point of contact, interact through email, message, WhatsApp, multiple channels. Then once you're onboarded, is okay, what is the invoice we need to send? Is the amount correct? Is the right product associated to it? Let's send the invoice, and then the collection is okay. Now let's follow up to make sure that we can actually collect money from them. So we have been replacing all these aspects with agentic AI. So now we have agents that will interact with their customers for the onboarding phase, that those agents have access to pool of resources so that they can fill out onboarding forms, send them over, take a confirmation. Once the confirmation of the onboarding is set in place, now the agents will send the invoices. Will make sure that the criteria is met, invoice with the raw demand, send the invoices, get confirmation that the invoice was received, and then the collections part. If a threshold is met, if a customer has not paid after some time, then the agent is triggered and they start exchanging emails. So now you have all these agents and interact with email, they interact with WhatsApp. Even we're in a project to make sure that they can interact with voice. So you have an assistant that will dial the customer and have a conversation with the customer, which is like mind-blowing. Now, this may sound trivial, but has been freeing a lot of resources. So now this company can start focusing on innovation, how we can sell better, sell faster, build more products. So that's one example. But we will start seeing agentic AI in so many different areas. One of them will be customer service. Now, one may say, well, we see customer service automation right now with chatbots, but let's extend that. Right now, chatbots are really good at kind of troubleshooting with text, okay? But what if the chatbot can take control over your desktop, then collect logs, actually troubleshoot, not to give you the directions for you to troubleshoot, but actually to troubleshoot, collect logs, send a response, take over your desktop. So now we don't have these kind of passive customer service assistant providing you like help hints, but actually taking action, sending you documentation, okay? Maybe even having a conversation with you, an actual voice and audio conversation. That's something we're going to be seeing more and more over. Another industry that will be highly affected by agentic AI will be supply chain management. In logistics, agentic AI can monitor real-time conditions like weather or traffic, and then dynamically reroute shipments to avoid delays. Of course, this will reduce cost, improve efficiency, and on a global scale. Another part, so as a co-founder, CTO of Intempo, something we are doing is now we're building this system that uses AI agents that will collect information from multiple sources. Can provide advice on healthcare related issues that combine so many different sources. I can even take action, like help you book an appointment with your doctor, or make sure that you take action, set up alarms, right? In a hospital setting, for example, an AI system can integrate all patient records, diagnostic data, and real-time monitoring to maybe alert doctors on potential health issues, or maybe even alert the user about some medication to take or about some actions to take. And you can think of another application like, let's say that you want to whether be more fit or lose weight, something related to your wellness. You can ask like a traditional system to put a nutrition plan for you, right? Maybe some recipes. Well, with Agentic AI, now you can the Agentic AI can actually do the grocery shopping for you. It's amazing, right? It's okay. Pretty much put everything together. So we'll see a lot of application in healthcare and, of course, in finance. In financial markets, Agentic AI can analyze market trends and execute trades like a lot faster. As a matter of fact, I think LangChain published a few days ago a trading Agentic AI. So now you can trade faster. That can help institutions to manage risk and maximize returns. So that's another one. I mean, now for these applications, again, not only boost efficiency and reduce costs, but also can open up like so many avenues for innovation and competitive advantage. But it's important for us to ask, how could our organizations leverage these capabilities not only to survive, but to thrive and create something new, which is kind of a mind shift that as humanity, we are going to start seeing.
Thank you. I love all the applications you mentioned. I probably just keep the grocery part for myself because I'm really a big fan of the supermarkets. I love to check in the supermarket and pick food myself. Well, you do mention the efficiency is one of the obvious benefits from the business perspective. I think the cost saving is definitely another one. But agentic AI isn't just about efficiency and the cutting costs. So it also open up the new revenue streams. So how do you see the businesses leveraging this to stay ahead of the competition?
So first is removing trivial. So I think there are two main ways in which agentic AI can help organizations become more competitive. Right? One is by solving all the trivial tasks that are not the core of the organization. So if the core of an organization is healthcare, you need to deal with stuff like taxes and human resources and supply chain. I mean, you have to deal with a lot of that stuff. So agentic AI promises to offload all that trivial, not fundamental core of the business in a way that is more efficient. So that's one thing. It's like, and imagine the potential. Let's say that you have an organization that has a mission of tackling world hunger, right? They have $1 million. Today, they need to spend that $1 million in staff, in tools for like HR, accounting, all that kind of stuff. And then the rest to actually look for solutions for world hunger. Now with agentic AI, you can kind of offload that transactional stuff to invest in your core. So that promises a lot of advancement in terms of our human capabilities and things that we can create and we can innovate. That's on one end. So it's removing trivial tasks so we can focus more on our core. That's one thing that AI promises in terms of impact. Now, beyond cost efficiency is more relevance. They have these two sides. The internal part that is operational excellence, right? Cost efficiency, productivity, effectiveness. On the other hand, is how relevant you are to your ecosystem. so that your customers find you more appealing, you can make more contributions. Now, on that side of the house, Agentic AI also promises a lot of innovation because can recommend and do things that we have not thought of. Because again, you have this ecosystem, interact more tools, so can come up with more creative solutions. There will be different industries because beyond efficiency, AI can bring competitive edge. The organizations like tech startups will be highly affected. There will be these innovative companies using AI to develop new products that learn and adapt to user behavior, creating a stronger competitive advantage. I can give you another example. There are companies like Replit, for example, where you have an idea of a program, of a product, or an application or platform, but you don't have someone in UX, you don't have a front-end engineer, you don't have a back-end engineer, you don't have an architect. So now with just text and with that idea, you can get a fully application being created and deployed for you using agents and AI, right? Also in healthcare, for example, you'll have advanced diagnostic systems that will not only improve patient outcomes or reduce costs. For example, again, in Temple Health, what we do as we think is what is the cost for an individual for not being healthy or keeping an eye on their own wellness? So it extends from just being efficient to being like way more productive, right? For example, in finance and retail, you can have real-time risk management, maybe tailored customer experience, and they'll be redefining not only those industries, but others that will push the boundary of what's possible, the boundary of how we interact, the boundary of how we connect. Now, these transformations really encourage us to consider, like in a future where every business has access to such intelligent systems, what new benchmarks for success will emerge? Because that will change. And also, how can an organization harness all these tools to create lasting competitive edge that benefits humanity? Right? So yes, I think that there'll be constant benefits just beyond efficiency.
With great power comes greater responsibility. And I want to link back a little bit to the one you mentioned, the autonomous trading AIs, because we have seen the cases like autonomous, like trading AIs making unpredictable market moves, and AI bias issues also in the hiring systems when people using those tools. So what are the biggest ethical and governance challenging we need to address nowadays?
Okay, so when it comes to the major ethical challenges, I think we have identified some of them today. As we continue to embrace all this agentic AI, we must confront with things like bias, right? If these systems have at their core a large language model that is learning from historical data, that historical data is biased, then there's a risk of unintentionally reinforcing existing inequalities. That's one, but that's well known, okay? Another one that is well known is accountability. It's a great issue. When an autonomous AI makes a decision that leads to a negative outcome, how do we pinpoint responsibility? So that becomes complex. Think about an example of a self-driving car and it crashes and there are casualties. Who takes accountability? The owner of the car, the manufacturer, the company that built the AI, especially now that AI systems are starting to be used in warfare, right? Or in smart cities, right? What happens if you have AI agents that control power distribution in the energy grid? For some reason, there's a bug, there's downtime, and then you have hospitals and first responders that have no power supply. I mean, who takes accountability for that? So accountability will be a huge issue, especially if we have AIs creating AIs. So I've been a part of one of our projects is as I mentioned, I implement agentic architectures. Now I have an agentic architecture that creates agentic architectures. So I have an agent that creates agents. And let's say that I have an agent that creates agents, and those agents are deployed. Initially, we say, well, I'm accountable. Okay. But if what happens if I die? And you have these agent creating agents being deployed. So now who takes accountability? So that would be a very, very big problem or challenge that we will face in the upcoming years. And when I say upcoming years, I'm not talking about 10 years down the road. I'm talking about like 2 years from now. Okay. So these are the actual big problems that we're going to have. Another problem is transparency. In the decision-making process, we must understand how these agents are making decisions and taking actions. We need very clear insights on how these systems arrive at their conclusions. But this will become a huge challenge because today you ask a large language model how it produces an answer, even through the reasoning steps, and you can follow the flow. But what happens when those systems become smarter than us? I mean, they can tell you, hey, this is how we're having a solution. It's like if a kid asks a PhD about quantum physics, say, hey, how do you arrive at a solution? And the PhD will give an answer to the kid, but it was unlikely that the kid will actually understand where the answer is coming from. So as we have systems becoming smarter and smarter, for us, it's becoming harder and harder to understand how they came to their conclusions. And that's also going to be a big issue. Now, keep in mind that all the systems interact with real data, and they the real-time data, and they handle sensitive information. So data privacy and security is also important. They will have more access to more information. They'll become smarter. So how do you hold them from getting data that they're not supposed to get, right? Because again, they don't have AI system. They don't have a moral compass, right? They don't have a set of underlying values. That's us. So that's going to be a big problem. But further than that, I think it'd also be how we keep control. Like, how do we have a kill switch? What happens if something starts going sideways? The example I gave you of a power grid being controlled by agentic AI. How do we turn up the switch if something goes wrong? Okay. And but on the other hand, also, and I think this is something important we need to start thinking about, is where are we heading as humanity? For example, we want AI systems, and again, this is kind of a more profound ethical question, which is what happens if now these agentic systems give us the opportunity to live forever? What are going to be the implications, ethical implications of that? I mean, the AI system is doing nothing wrong about it. It's following instructions, and we are striving to live forever, which I believe we're very close to that. But what happens if we live forever? Are we going to have kids? Are we going to marry? Are we going to take risks? Right? So what's our sense of purpose? So those are going to be challenges that we'll be starting facing in the upcoming years. So those, I think, will be the biggest challenges, which be bias, transparency, accountability, security, robust, and a sense of purpose.
Yes, thank you. That's very comprehensive of the picture. I think totally agree with you. Human oversight is going to be always needed and involved. I also don't see the AI agents like in the next few years gonna, let's say 3 to 5 years at least, gonna replace any jobs. But definitely the job's gonna be more like the work with the AI agents or work with more agentic AIs to oversight the final results. So understanding it and know what's the limitation of the agentic AIs, also what's the human limitations, and to how to work together going to be a very important part. But the good news is some companies are already adopting AI governance playbooks, like the IBM, the Microsoft, for example. They are all pushing for the AI safety standards. So what's the best practice should the business follow when deploying the agentic AI, as you mentioned?
So I think there are a few that are quite robust. The NIST's, the US NIST's AI risk management framework, I think it's one of them. The European Union, the AI Act, I think developing something very, very robust, very comprehensive. So they have a set of best practices around it. But more important, because right now there's like no actual regulation that forces us to deal with agentic AI. The big problem is that technology is moving a lot faster than our ability to regulate it. So I think in terms of best practices to follow AI governance would be first, constant monitoring. Regularly audit AI systems to detect and correct biases or errors. Also human oversight, have human in the loop. For example, the systems that we implement in critical decision-making processes or parts, we don't allow the AI agent to move forward in the flow unless there's a human that clicks approve or reviews. So it's important to add a human in the loop in that agentic workflow. Doesn't matter how autonomous it is, for critical decision-making, there should always be human interacting, approving, rejecting, that allows the flow to continue. Also, documenting decision-making processes clearly so it can be reviewed and trusted. And I think most important is stakeholder engagement. When I say stakeholder engagement is collaborate with ethicists, which now it's a role being created for AI ethicists, collaborate with legal experts, industry leaders, diverse group of people with different perspectives and opinions to develop balanced policies and approaches. Well, when adopting these practices, like following, like again, NIST's AI risk management framework, following AI Act framework, monitoring, having a human in the loop, understanding aspects of transparency with human stakeholder, these best practices, organizations can ensure that AI systems are not only effective, but are also fair and are accountable. So the question for everyone is like, what additional measures might be needed of safeguard against the risk of increasing autonomous systems? Because that's an area today of a lot of research. So we don't have all the answers yet. We're trying to look for the answers. I'm actually fighting for that, but we don't have all the answers yet.
Yeah, cool, thanks. Well, to me, ideally, we're going to have something like globally standard thing, but we never have it for any industries in our human, like the history. I don't think it's going to happen to AI anyway. So looking ahead, the agentic AI has the potential to reshape the entire industries. You already give us a lot of great applications and examples. Also, the McKinsey recently predicts that the autonomous AI agents could add over 3 trillion in value by 2030. So for the professionals and business looking to stay ahead and win in here, what skills will the critical to throw in the AI-driven world?
Sure. So in the future skills and in terms of work, one of them will be AI literacy, like AI, like how AI works. So people will need to understand how AI works. And that will be the same way as today. Now everyone knows how to use Microsoft Office and PowerPoint. Now at some point, the same amount of people should be able to know how or understand how AI works. Okay, be very literate on AI. We will need to have the ability to analyze and interpret data and a very strong grasp of ethical and governance issues. What will change is that, okay, so let me give you a quick analogy, a quick example. I have a friend, and when ChatGPT was released, she was not using ChatGPT. She's a coder, she's a developer. She was not using ChatGPT for her code because she thought it was cheating. But then her colleagues, all of them were using ChatGPT. So they were resolving tickets a lot faster. Then she got a performance improvement plan because she was still doing things manually. So the thing is that AI will not replace us. Someone that knows how to use AI will. Okay, so again, AI will not replace us. So key skill is how we collaborate with AI, how we use those tools to boost our performance. It's not steering away of AI, it's how we adopt it so that we can do better. Okay? Something that is also very important to understand is that AI doesn't have a sense of will or purpose. So we drive that wheel. But for that, it's very important because it's very hard sometimes to have a vision, a strategic vision of what we want to accomplish so that we can ask the AI to do it for us. So one important skill of the future will be our ability to synthesize a goal, to synthesize very well a goal, an objective, have the ability to direct AI to do what we need them to do. And that is not easy. So you can take a look at with any large language model, when you ask for something, you can get tons of different responses. So having a clear vision of what you want and how you want it will be one of the most important skills in the near future. So AI literacy, ability to analyze and interpret data, good grasp of ethical and governance issues, ability to collaborate with AI, and our ability to define our vision and purpose.
Talking about upskilling, I know Simplilearn is offering the applied generative AI course. So how do you see the programs like this helping people prepare for this shift and for the future?
Well, because in the generative AI course, they will take a look at the core of agentic AI, which is large language models, which the generative part is the core and the brains of agentic AI. Once people understand the core, the brains, how the heart of the agent work, it's just a matter of plugging in additional context or plugging in tools with other frameworks. But they will gain understanding on the different types of Gen AI models, algorithms, characteristics, so that they can pick and choose what would be the best possible engine for the agents.
Thanks, Armando. That has been a fun that has been a stunning conversation. And one last question, I think we still got a little bit of time. So if there's one key takeaway you'd like our audience to remember about agentic AI and how they should prepare, what would it be?
So I would say that we need to first understand that agentic AI is not just an incremental improvement. It represents fundamental, huge shift in how technology will start acting as a true partner in our daily lives. By combining all large language models with real-time access and autonomous decision-making, all these systems will open up a lot of new opportunities across every single industry. However, as you mentioned, with a lot of power comes with responsibility. We need to stay ahead of ethical oversight, innovative governance, and the key takeaway here is just to continue learning, right? Adapt all our practices to new technologies, actively perform, actually do implement. There's tons of material out there. There are tons of open source frameworks. So get involved, learn on an ongoing basis, understand how you can use all these tools to be better, to grow, to become the person you want to become, to create what you want to create. Use these tools as an inspiration so that you get rid of all the things that you don't need and start thriving. So that would be part of my biggest takeaway. And as now the audience lives today, think about how you or your organization can prepare for all these exciting features, right? Ensuring that you get the benefits of agentic AI in a way that is responsible and effective. But again, just take a dive, do it, enjoy it, feel excited, test it, try it, and then you will really understand the potential of agentic AI.
Thank you. I think everything, like you said, everything is down to first step, understand what is generative AI, what is agentic AI, and how it works. That is the foundation of everything, like the later, how it works, what is limitation, what is strength, and in which direction you collaborate. Even if you want to create a career based on it, you need to understand which is a niche area you want to go. Because nowadays, become an AI expert is probably too ambitious. It's such a broader field. So find your niche, understand which is the direction you want to go. But everything starts with understand the core of that. So, Prerna, may I please ask you to share a bit more information about this amazing course with us?
Yes, absolutely. So I was just about to do that. I was, letting Armando finish as well. So of course, Armando highlighted how this course is going to help, in terms of curriculum, in terms of what it offers. But before that, could you just take them through the key features that the course offers?
Yes. I would like to start with share a little bit about my own learning journey. So most of my foundational knowledge in AI, especially in NLP and deep learning, came from the structured course that I took back at university. So I've personally benefited a lot from the systematic learning, especially in AI, where the concepts build on each other. And I believe a well-structured course helps a long way, especially for those looking to build a strong foundation and navigate the field efficiently.
Yeah.
So, but the thing with the traditional university courses are great in many ways, but they don't always align perfectly with the industry need. And one thing I appreciate about this course, Applied Gen AI specialization, is that it's designed with input from both the academia and the industry. So making it more relevant to the real-world application. It also includes the hands-on exercise and industry-related projects, which I think is a key for actually applying what you learn. Also, there's one question that I got a lot is, should I go with a course or self-learning? What I believe is all learning is ultimately self-learning. So at the end of the day, you have to observe the knowledge, apply it, and make it your own. The difference is whether you are figuring it all out from the scattered like a resource or following a structured learning path that helps you focus on the right things. And this is especially important in AI because, like we mentioned, it's such a broad field. My master's degree was in NLP direction, and I have like 2 years of full-time study, but that's still just a very specific area in AI. And we have the machine learning, deep learning, neural networks, and on the side we have reinforcement learning related like the data science, automation. Now we have the embodied AI and generative AI, and they are all deeply connected. So from the high-level concepts to the core, like the mathematical foundations, it just takes time and experience to explore the field efficiently.
Yeah.
And back to our course, for example, let's say the course is specializing in the applied generative AI. So it's covering the concepts like attention, It covers the concepts like the attention, mechanisms, and transformations. For the practical skills, it focused on the prompt engineering, large language model like fine-tuning and RAG, and also have the hands-on with the tools like ChatGPT, Hugging Face, and all those the very popular ones. So what it covers is definitely far away from all the knowledge in AI, that's for sure. But it does provide enough for someone looking to build a foundation, gain practical experience, and explore the career opportunities. Things are moving so crazily fast in the AI nowadays, I'm pretty sure we all have noticed. So having a clear learning path can make a true difference. And speak of the working opportunities, degrees and qualifications doesn't define someone's ability, but they do help in job hunting a lot. And this course completion certificate is hosted on Microsoft Learn, which is a really good plus. And there's also like the job support to help the learners connect with the hiring companies, which is also a lot of the other hand holdings. So if possible, a structured course can be a great way to build a solid foundation. And even if it's not an option in your life at this stage, at least check the course step list and use it as a guide for structuring your own learning journey. And when it's possible, it's always good to take the structured course and follow it, build a strong foundation.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Alex, for highlighting the importance of structured learning and also how, it's important to stay updated with industry trends. Speaking of structured learning, actually, Armando is one of the trainers for this course. So, Armando, do you have thoughts on, just to add to what Alex said about structured learning and how it's important for someone to keep themselves updated, but at the same time follow a structured curriculum?
Oh yeah. So as a matter of fact, there was a question asking, okay, with so much information out there, it's overwhelming. How do we stay ahead? And I think there are two important pieces. One, to have a structure. The other one will be to be focused on the problem you're trying to solve. Right? Don't try to learn everything from everywhere because you will never learn everything substantial. So think of a specific problem you're trying to solve. Use a structured approach to solve it. Okay, that'll be my advice on that.
Absolutely. I think it's the right approach to follow. Could you also highlight, you also mentioned about how this covers the core fundamentals of generative AI and how it's important to learn generative AI to be able to operate with agentic AI. So how is it really important and what does the course cover? If you can just take the learners through the curriculum and the flow.
Yeah, absolutely. So first, again, it's understanding what generative AI is. Remember that if you see you have models and architecture, building LLM applications, models and architecture is the part where you know what are the different types of large language models or the different types of Gen AI models. Understanding from the core, understanding the architecture, pros and cons, use cases. Then building LLM applications, you add the context, right? So that you can start building some very basic agents. We're not agents, they're actually called chains, but you start building chains. Then we start talking about a little bit more of AI governance, which is, again, one of the challenges that we face and how we can minimize risks. Finally, you have a capstone project. So this takes you through the core fundamental part of agent systems.
Got it. All right. So I think with all of this information that you have, I'd just like to add a couple of more things. Now, with this course, you have this added advantage of getting a certificate, a joint certificate from Purdue University and Simplilearn. And of course, a certificate separately for the Azure AI fundamental course on generative AI, right? So you also get access to live online masterclasses from Purdue faculty and Purdue staff, and you get access to become or eligible to become a part of the Purdue's Alumni Association through this program, right? So these are some highlights, and of course, having Purdue University on your resume, these credentials are valuable. And some of you actually asked me if this webinar is going to give you a certificate from Purdue. No. So the certificate from Purdue University and Simplilearn comes jointly if you become a part of this course, right? So let me just quickly take you through what happens if you really like to enroll, the skills and the tools as well. So maybe we could start with that. Armando, if you can just highlight what happens in the projects and how one really learns hands-on and how does this help them, going forward?
Oh yeah, so we have practice. And so it's not a matter of just understanding concept, but having hands-on. Someone asked me here, how do I stay ahead? How do I thrive in this AI world? But there are two things. One, learn. Second, practice. There is no shortcut. If you don't practice, if you don't do it, if you don't have hands-on experience, it's like you know nothing. Okay? So practice, practice, practice. And following that tenet, what we do in this course is provide a lot of practice. So there's a lot of assisted practice, and there are industry-related projects so that you can get hands-on, so you can really grasp what Gen AI can do.
Yes. Great. I think with this, we are pretty much clear about what the course offers. Just to, close and closing thoughts about the course. So once you enroll, you also get access to a learning experience, an immersive learning experience where you get to interact with your trainers and your peers. You get to ask questions. You also have a support team that's available 24/7. And of course, if you miss a class, you get the access to the recording. So all of that happens on the learning management system for which you get access after you've enrolled, right? So a lot of questions on how you can really enroll, and this is where the exciting part comes up. And yeah, so Armando is one of the trainers. So if you actually take up, the next cohort or the upcoming cohort, you'll have Armando as the trainer there. Yeah. So about the enrollment steps, all you have to do is to fill in a quick form, given your personal details, your name, and the email ID. And here's the exciting part, right? So for the 300 people that we have here, we're offering a special scholarship for you guys to enter this program. Yeah. So Gaurav here had shared the link to download the syllabus. You can, of course, go through that. But let's say you would like to go ahead and fill in your details. You can do that right now. And what we have is we've got learning advisors from the India and the US teams for you to help and guide you with your enrollment, right? So what I'm going to do right now is help you connect with your learning advisors. But before that, you make sure that you have filled in this very quick form. And how do you do that? Is by clicking on apply now. So I'm just sending this link on the chat. Yeah, so the charges will not be able to help you here because we've got people from different regions. So maybe the learning advisors are the best people for you to help you with your charges. So please make sure you click on apply and do this right away. And this scholarship that the learning advisors will help you is actually applicable only for the next 2 hours. And we are going to be taking enrollments for the upcoming cohorts on the 19th and the 24th of Feb. So all of these details are available on the course page. And how do you connect with your learning advisors is through a couple of rooms that I'm launching. So there's a room that's going to be called Learning Advisors India, a room that's going to be called Learning Advisors US. So if you're from India, please make sure you join this, that room. And then if you're from US, make sure you join the room dedicated for the US learning advisors. Okay, so I'm just going to do that right away. And here you go. So you should be receiving a message right now saying join your respective rooms. Yeah. So please make sure you're in the right room because, learning advisors from India will be able to help you with the fee, the enrollment steps. But before that, you have to make sure that you have filled in this application form through the course. Yeah. And right now we are going to be taking any questions if you guys have. You can also come back to the main session and, go back to the room whenever you can. If you have questions, yes, I see Armando is already answering them, but yeah, I think I had a few interesting questions in mind while we were talking about topic, but I think it's already answered. Yeah. Someone had this question about what framework to use, but I think, Armando, you already.
So I can talk about the stack, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there are multiple frameworks to doing agentic AI. There are new frameworks like AutoGen, Hugging Face, Small, SMOL. But the one I use because it's very flexible is LangGraph. So LangChain is a company that's using like chains, like sequential type of agents, one after the other. But with LangGraph, there's a different framework also created by LangChain where you can have like non-sequential working in parallel agents. So when it comes to the development of graphs and the orchestration of agents, I use LangGraph because there are also so many tools already available, like those external tools, like to read the Gmail, to update, to make changes in infrastructure. So they already have a lot of tools. Right. In terms of platform, I typically use Google Cloud or Amazon Web Services. So I use their compute, and I use LangGraph, LangChain for, again, the business logic layer, and then from the front end, I use other things like Flutter. But that's what I use.
Okay, understood. I think the one on framework, I hope your question is answered. Someone had this really fundamental question on how agentic AI is really different from Gen AI. What is it, that I know that they're two very different topics and subjects, but how are they really different? How are they related, maybe?
So can you repeat the question, Jen, please?
Someone had a question on how agentic AI is different from generative AI.
Because the generative AI part is at the core.
Yeah.
So you use generative AI to understand a request, to understand a petition. Then with agentic AI, you take action in that petition, right? So that's the difference. The generative AI is at the core, is the engine of an agent. The agent uses that generative model to take an action, to interact with other systems.
Got it. All right. We have. Okay, yeah, certificate for this webinar, you'll be submitting your names towards the end. So I'm just dismissing those questions that we get about the certificate. I think we already got questions. We already answered this question on how it can be implemented in real-time situations in organizations. And yeah, so the recording of this webinar is also available on our YouTube channel. You can receive certificate. Please hold on, you give your names, and then you receive your certificate in the next 24 hours. Yeah. So please wait till the end of the session. We're just finishing the Q&A. We're also having people who are interested in enrolling. So please make sure that you can join, the respective rooms if you're really interested to enroll now. So if you're not from the US or from, you can still join the team that says India. You can still join there. Yeah. So if you're from Ghana, again, please join the team that says Learning Advisors India. They should be able to help you. But first, please make sure you fill in the application so that, even if you don't join a room, you have someone definitely calling you. Yeah. Armando, this is a very good question on how someone can actually get started on small projects to apply what they've learned in agentic AI.
There's a free course from LineGraph. So you can start there. So you can go to LineGraph. So if you want to do agentic AI, go to the websites of each framework. It can be Hugging Face, small, OpenAI, Swarm, Microsoft AutoGen, or LangChain's LangGraph. And they typically have tutorials over there, free tutorials. That's what I would do, at least. Well, as a matter of fact, that's what I did.
Got it. Got it. Let's see. We have more questions. I think, Wenki, we just answered the difference here, AI, Gen AI, Agentic AI. We did that in the beginning of the session as well.
So I have a good question I'd like to answer. One is agentic AI versus robotic process automation. So imagine robotic process automation on steroids. Because in robotic process automation, you define the rules. You say, if this happens, do this. If this happens, do that. So in robotic process automation, you define the flow. You define how decisions are made, right? You just automate them. Agentic AI thinks about what the decisions might be based on a specific goal. In RPA, you don't have a goal. You say, okay, just follow these steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, boom, and you automate that. That's robotic process automation. In AI, you do something smarter because you take additional context, dynamic context, and you can provide automation-based goals. So that's a huge difference. Robotic process automation is like baby AI, very, very baby AI. Agentic AI is like mature, robust, autonomous decision making. So that's the difference between RPA, Agentic AI. EA will be replaced with Agentic AI at some point.
Right. Right.
I also have a question that I'd like to answer is how to transform humans' life using Agentic AI. That's up to you. That's really up to you. It's so right now we are in a very unique time in human evolution where we are finding new ways to do things. Now, how can I improve it? We have now this fertile soil where now you decide how it can help you. It's not what others say how it can help, it's how you decide to help. Let me give you an example. The way that I have found out that it can help me out is now creating like deepfakes with Agentic AI on myself, on my persona, to record training videos. That's how it can help me. So I'm mixing like deepfakes with Agentic AI, with everything we know to create deepfake videos of myself, okay? Another way that I use Agentic AI that can help me out is to manage my calendar, okay? So those are like details that helps me, but it's up to you. So what do you want to do? Like if you're into nutrition or healthcare or stock trading, so that's really up to you, okay?
Got it. I think this is a very good question. How are sensitive domains like army or finance can leverage, the power of agentic AI to abide regulatory compliance, and how does one validate ethical usage in business? How does one navigate that?
So that's a big problem. We need to start thinking about what is the goal, okay? What is it we're trying to accomplish? Because believe it or not, ethical behavior and morality, they depend on the context of every culture and every location. So what might be ethical for one group might not be ethical for another group. Okay. So first is having a common agreement on what do we mean by having ethical behavior. And by the way, generally speaking, is that it has a healthy contribution to humanity and nature. Okay. Typically that's what it is, society. So first is how do we define ethics, and then listing out what are all the risks that can deviate us from our ethical goals, then address them. So because yes, there are sensitive domains like army and finance and healthcare that while can provide a lot of efficiency, can also be used against ethical principles. So that's where you start. You always start from a non-technical perspective, defining ethical goals and boundaries. That's where you start. And that's a non-technical conversation. That's just a tech conversation. And then designing the safeguards so that you don't violate those boundaries.
Understood. Yeah, follow-on question on RPA. Would it make sense to convert a deterministic rule-based engine system to a non-deterministic one? Or using RPA is better suited?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. It can make sense to convert a deterministic. As a matter of fact, if you look at a broader sense, typically a deterministic rule system feeds a broader non-deterministic system, okay? Most times. So yeah, absolutely. Sometimes you have like something simple. Yeah, go ahead and do a deterministic rule-based system. This is mainly for more complex systems. And when you look at robotic process automation, they typically feed. Let me give an example. Robotic process automation can be taking a lot of data, cleaning it up, and then providing some graphs or charts. But the goal in reality is not for you to have charts, it's to know what to do with them. So instead of having an RPA to create charts and diagrams, and then you have to do the analysis, You have an agentic AI that does everything and will provide you the analysis.
Yeah.
So it depends on the context. But yes, if you have something simple like, yes, I want to send an email like every morning at 5 a.m., then yeah, by all means, do RPA.
Got it. By the way, if you're still, figuring out how you can apply for this course, one way to do it is to obviously fill in your application. And another way is to just click a yes. Let's say you don't want to have this conversation today, right away with the learning advisors. All you can do is just click a yes on the poll that I've just launched, and someone will reach out to you tomorrow. But ideally, you have your learning advisors right here. So it's helpful if you can just join one of the rooms and get your questions answered and use the scholarship that we're offering. So I'm going to be keeping this poll live, and yeah, let's see if we've got more questions. I think we've got one on I think, Armando, if you're still here, there's one question on how one
Yes.
can start their AI-based startup. What does one do apart from, of course, upskilling and
Let's make sure that we understand that when you start a company, the technology part is not the most important. Okay. How you can start an AI-based startup is first is what problem you're trying to solve, and that's for every startup. Okay. You don't start by saying, okay, I want AI in my system. You say, okay, what problem I'm trying to solve? Then once you figure out what kind of problem you're trying to solve, you'll figure out what are all the different steps that you need to solve that problem. And then once you have that, you figure out from all those steps in which steps you can include AI. Okay. But you never stop with, I want to do AI. It's I want to solve a problem.
Yeah.
Then you figure out what activities, and from those activities, then you decide which ones can be leveraged on AI.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's the perfect way to go, right? So you can't just think of starting an AI-based startup. Where do you want to really apply AI? Which field, which role, which function would you like to optimize is the question. Okay.
But keep in mind that AI is not the goal. AI is a tool, and a startup needs a goal. Okay. Now, is agentic AI? So I see a couple of questions related to, okay, is this going to pose a threat for humanity? And is it going to be taking over jobs, replace humans? Look, back in the, I think, what was in the late 1900s, the cars replaced horses, right? In a matter of like 20 years, the horse industry was almost wiped out from the planet. You had people that lived in those industries. AI will not replace all jobs. There will be a shift and there will be an impact, yes, as with any other technological revolution, but it will not be the end of humanity. It's just another iteration of evolution, another one where we will have to adapt, right? The same way as it happened with the transition between horses and cars, between manual work and steam engines. So this is just another transition. Will jobs be affected? Yes. Will education be affected? Yes. Will regulations be affected? Yes. Will they disappear? No. Again, it's just another step on the evolution. And in these sessions, we are attempting to prepare you to deal with that.
Okay. All right. I think we'll just wrap up the questions here, and we'll also need to kind of drive whoever wants to take up the course here. We need to kind of drive them and help them enroll. So Armando and Alex, I think we will just come to a close of the session here. It was great to have you and host you. I know you already added closing thoughts, and a lot of people are still here. So do you have anything to convey to them? Just last minute thoughts before you guys leave. Armando or Alex, do you want to just end the session with closing thoughts.
Yeah, I can start. Well, just for all the learners, I'm just thinking if you are just a new like a starter into the AI, I would say like the jump into it, don't be afraid of it. And most important, traditionally we learn from the basic, from the math statistic and the machine learning and the basic traditional algorithms and then the deep learning and then the NLP. But I would say for today's, especially if your future career direction is not in the research, do it back. I mean, from where you want to start. If you want to become a like forcing like the automation to check what is a related area. If you want to become an LP like related like the let's say the AI engineer or machine learning engineer, start from there. To say what you have to learn and then to go the back end. Especially, you don't have to wait for everything's ready and then start finding a job. Learn enough, as long as it's enough to start your first job, and then learn it while you start working. Because now this industrial just moving fast enough, like our traditional universities, a little bit more challenging to catch it up with. Another side, like you can go with the courses like the Simplilearn, so to like more like the quick pieces to understand where's the gap. Just don't wait, find which direction you want to go and learn enough, jump to start it, continue learning.
It's a great thought, great way to inspire people to upskill and learn more. Armando, do you have anything else to say? I know you're still answering questions, but anything else that you want to add?
No, I mean, just summing up what Alex
Yeah,
said.
absolutely.
Learn and practice. And by the way, follow Alex LinkedIn. She has great posts. She does great education.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she has amazing interviews like this one. So yes, that would be my other piece of advice. Follow Alex.
Thank you so much for camera. And Armando, actually, my eye is on you for my next guest. So be careful. I probably gonna send you an email and ask you to join me anytime.
Absolutely. Anything I can help with. Thank you, Alex.
Great. So I think I'll just request the learners to stay back because there's just some certificate-related logistics to close, and the learners would want that. But it was great hosting you guys. It was great listening to you as well. A great session. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Armando. Yeah, the learners can stay back because we still have a few things to do here. I'm going to be closing this poll and yeah. So in case a last few learners who want to join these rooms and avail the scholarship that we have, I'm just going to drop in one of these rooms. You can see me there, or you can still click a yes on the poll and wait for a learning advisor to call you. Okay, so I think a lot of you have given interest in the course. Close to about 100 of you have actually said yes. If you guys are here from, one of the breakout rooms that we had, it's okay if you weren't able to make the decision today. Just remember that, you will receive a call and just let the learning advisor know that you were a part of this webinar and you would like to avail the scholarship. Okay? Yeah. So I'm just going to wait for a couple of more minutes for you guys to give a yes on the poll, and then we move on to the certificate poll because you guys were so keen in getting the webinar certificates. We'll collect names for that and we'll send them out tomorrow. Yeah. Great. So I'm just going to wait here. And if there are any more people who would like to give a yes, please do that right now. The next couple of minutes, because after that, I'm going to be collecting your names for the certificate. People watching us on YouTube, you can head to the video description, click on the link and submit your application. Someone will reach out to you and help you enroll as well. Okay. Great. So I think I'll just quickly end the poll here. All of you who have expressed your interest, thank you very much. Just expect a call tomorrow, and remember that we'll be kind of explaining the same details that we did today, and you can still reach out to know if the scholarship is still available and running, and they can extend it to you or not. Yeah. Now, quickly on to the webinar certificate. So if you want to receive a webinar certificate, remember this is a certificate from Simplilearn webinars. You can share this certificate on your LinkedIn. Someone asked me if this is a Purdue certificate. No, it is not. The Purdue University and the Simplilearn joint certificate is you get that only when you finish the Applied GenAI course, not this webinar. Okay, this webinar is on Agentic AI and it is organized and launched and hosted by Simplilearn. Okay, so you get the certificate only from Simplilearn. So make sure you enter your name carefully, your full name with your correct spelling, however you want it to appear on your certificate. And again, I'm going to keep the poll live for a couple of more minutes. And then we'd also love your feedback on the session. So I know I've closed the chat box down, but yeah, I'm just going to open it up for a while. So people who are not really here for the certificates, they can actually leave. If you're here for the certificate, make sure you enter your name. A lot of questions have come in on how you can, get your certificate for this. It is there on the poll section. Please make sure you click on polls and quizzes. And yeah, half of you have already submitted your names, which is really quick. We just have another 30 of you to go. Thank you, Muskan. Glad that the session helped you. Everyone else, please make sure you fill in your details. Yeah, I know the session was kind of short and quick and helped you understand agentic AI. Just in a nutshell, there was a lot of discussion. It's actually an intense, not really intense, but an elaborate topic. So of course, the 1.5 hours didn't really do much justice. We'll do more such sessions on agentic AI in the future. Yes, of course, it was really insightful and we gained a lot of insights on how the session is. Glad that everyone enjoyed it. Yeah, but I promise that we'll do more such sessions. Someone wanted a live demo of how this model really works. So maybe I've taken that as an input. We can explore doing that as well. Yeah. And speaking of AI agents, we actually have a session coming on how you can build an AI agent in 60 minutes. Now, this is just going to be a very quick session again, only a quick 1 hour session on how you can do this. So I'm going to send over the link on the chat. You guys can register and just give us a quick thumbs up if you've registered here. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. I've sent the link to an upcoming session on AI, how you can build your AI agent. Please make sure if you are interested, you can register. And this is coming up on the 26th of February. Yeah, so if you're interested, you can register for this session. It's going to be organized in a very similar format. Same time, actually. So, yeah, the next couple of weeks. So, Rashmita, I've just sent the link to the session. Thank you, Blas. The session was great. Glad that you enjoyed it. When will you get the session recording? Tomorrow? I'm just going to shut down the chat. I know all of you love the session, but some of the guys who are wanting to register, I'm so sorry I've switched off the chat. I've just sent the link to the next session here because it tends to get missed amidst the many chat messages that we receive. Thank you so much, everyone, for the appreciation. Praveen and everyone else wanting to know about when you will receive the certificate, you will get this tomorrow. By this time, you should have your certificate and the recording link for you to download and use. Yeah, but remember, to all of you who asked me for certificate, the aim of attending a webinar shouldn't be to get a certificate, but actually to learn and gain value, right? So if you've done that, you've already won half or not full the entire battle, actually. Yeah. So just remember that the webinar certificate is just a social proof that you actually attended a webinar, but how much you learned out of it and how much you use it in your career is where the real deal is. Yeah. So focus on that. The next time you attend a webinar, make sure you gain the maximum value out of it. And I'm sure you did that today as well. But remember that certificate is just an add-on to what you get out of the webinar. It's just a minor piece of what you get. Okay, what link are you talking about? I shared the link on the chat. Okay, wait. Yes, here you go. There's a link to a webinar that's coming up on the 26th, and I've closed the chat box down because, the message keeps, you'll keep missing the message that I send. People who have given the names, yes, if you don't have anything else to ask or share, please, you may leave. If you do want to register for this webinar, please make sure you do that, with the link on the chat. Yeah, so I know that we 30 minutes or 45 minutes past the close time, but it was an elaborate topic. The discussion, was bound to extend because the nature of the topic, and we also had a bunch of questions to answer about the course, about your career, and how, yes, you guys will get your certificate tomorrow. Yes. So I'm just going to wait for exactly 2 minutes for you guys to. Yeah, I think all of you have submitted your names, which is great. I'm just going to end this poll. And one last question on how you liked this session. Yeah, so it'll really help us do better the next time. So just give us your quick rating. And I've also left the link to the next AI agent webinar coming up on the 26th.